Hello everyone and welcome to WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our December 3rd, 2019 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including who's playing Superman. Is it David Corenswet or whatever his name is, or Henry Cavill? We're going to be talking about Crisis on Infinite Earths coming up next week, latest episode of Supergirl, comic books, and so much more. We'll also be turning to you to take your questions and comments about any Superman topic you would like to discuss, and to let you know how all that works and how you can get involved in tonight's show. Let me introduce you to my co-host, the Prince of Podcasts, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve. Now, since WGBS Live is about Superman, we want to hear from the Superman fans that are watching us live on YouTube. So, about the halfway mark, and if we don't have too much going on, we're going to start taking calls from you. To do this, you're going to need Skype. Get on Skype, find Superman Homepage, and then message us that you'd like to be part of the show. Now, a couple things. One, message us. Don't just call, because as we have proven time and again, this is pretty much me and Steve talking with, like, I got a can, he's got a can, and we've got a string stretching across the world.
How are you?
Yeah, it's right here. So, the can's in the middle.
Right.
And the other thing is, if you are listening to us tonight live through an external speaker, which is okay because we're pretty safe for work, please turn that down if we take your call, because we are on a delay and that can kind of screw things up.
Yes, indeed. That's how you get involved in tonight's show. And for those tuning in live via YouTube to watch tonight's program, we invite you to join in with fellow fans, post your comments and ask questions. Michael and I will keep an eye on those questions and comments as the show goes on to react to them as necessary. And a huge thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham and John Patrick Van Pelt. We appreciate your support. Well, Michael, we always seem to have topics thrown at us. There always seems to be a hot button topic that we get to discuss week in, week out. And this week we have a new name thrown into the mix as far as who can play Superman other than Henry Cavill, who also is in the mix because he's out there just talking about what he wants to do next with the Man of Steel.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I in the absence of any kind of news, we are going to constantly get hit with these non-stories. Well, it's a story, but it's not a story. The fact that one of the articles that I saw today was shared by Men's Health, I was just like, that's an interesting source. I would not have considered Men's Health to be on the forefront of Superman news. But no, it's just, what is this guy's name? I've seen it like 15 times. I still can't say it. His
name is David Corenswet. He came to people's attention. He's currently starring in a Netflix series called The Politician. He's 26 years old, and people have been commenting on the fact that he looks a lot like Henry Cavill. Now, here's a picture of him here, one that has been going around. He says, "It came to my attention before the internet got a hold of me, but my pie-in-the-sky ambition is definitely to play Superman. I'd love to see somebody do an upbeat throwback take on Superman. I love the Henry Cavill dark and gritty take, but I would love to see the next one be very bright and optimistic."
Yeah, I think it's a little unfair to blame Henry for that portrayal.
Yeah, I don't know. He's blaming him. He's just saying that that's a different take.
But yeah, he definitely does look like a younger Henry Cavill. He's got the chin and the hair and the basic facial features. It's just can he act? Can he do it? That's the big thing. Henry, even if you didn't really like his Superman, or like his version of Superman, or the version of Superman he was playing, he was good in the role. He when he walked with the costume, he walked with purpose. This was always my criticism of Dean Cain, is when Dean Cain was in the costume, he looked like he wanted to be in anything else but that costume. And that worked for his version of Superman. But when you're doing a movie, especially, you want this to be kind of iconic. So the fact that this guy's kind of throwing his hat in the ring. I mean, it's like the Democratic primaries over here in the United States right now. Everybody and their mother is jumping into running for president, and just as many are now jumping out. So it just seems like this is more to get attention on him than to legitimately be pitching himself for the role, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the comments, people are saying, who the heck is this guy? And I guess that's the point. When talking about casting a new Superman, most people want a relative unknown because they don't want to say, oh, that's famous person, in brackets, name, playing Superman. They want to say, this guy's Superman. Look, as I said, he's been in a couple of Netflix things. He's got The Politician is out now on Netflix. He's got another thing coming up called Hollywood, which he's both a producer and a star in. It's also on Netflix. So look, he's out there. He's acting. I don't know what his abilities are. I haven't seen him in anything. Sure, he looks the part. He has the standard look when you are looking for a ideal person to play Superman. I think he's 6'4", although there's some conjecture about his actual height. But look, he's more like Superman than Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, traditionally, yes.
Yes.
Or even Ashton Kutcher or Paul Walker or Josh Hartnett or any of the other names that were bandied about 20 years ago.
Yeah, look, he's...
Was that 20? That was 20.
It's crazy, isn't it? You had to pause there thinking about, really? That long ago?
Yeah.
But look, that's not to say that Henry's definitely done with the role, because as much as this guy might be a new, young, up-and-comer, Henry's out there at the moment doing the whole Witcher series promotional tour. The Witcher, I believe, starts this week on Netflix. And so he's been out doing the press tour. And look, he's very much saying that he's still got ideas for the role and still wants to be part of it. I'm going to play a quick video, one interview at the moment, that I want your reaction to, Michael, because I think this was quite interesting. I think this is the one I'm looking for.
Beautiful. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you
so
too.
I would imagine taking on a film role so different than TV. With a film, you have got 2 hours.
That I'm such a fan of your work, and
Thank you very much.
I think Man of Steel is an absolute masterpiece that I've seen 35 million times.
You and me both, man.
I think you are genuinely the greatest Superman to ever live, and I want you to continue playing the character.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to know your thoughts real fast, if you had any. I know you're waiting for this question all day, but what are your thoughts on people being so vocal about the Snyder Cut, and is it something that you have seen, or would you want to see it?
I have not seen any Snyder Cut. I don't know if there's anything that exists that is a Snyder Cut. I'm sure there's footage out there which has probably been pieced together over the years. I'm always interested to see how that stuff turns out, but that is very much a chapter in my past. I would rather talk about what is going to happen in the future, the future of Superman, how I can express that character from the comic books, which ties in nicely to Man of Steel. Man of Steel, I really like that movie, and I'd like to be able to tell the story where it was left at that point.
Will we get that?
I can tell you nothing.
Oh my
unfortunately.
gosh, that'd be
I can
so
tell you
awesome
nothing,
if that
but
happens.
It would indeed be awesome.
This character doesn't necessarily...
So there you have Henry Cavill talking about, rather than focus on the Snyder Cut and the fact that he was not out there promoting it that day that everybody else was, mainly because he's not on Twitter, he says he doesn't really want to look to the past. He'd rather concentrate and focus his energies on looking to the future and what can still be done with Superman, and specifically wanting to pick up from where Man of Steel left off and be able to tell more stories about Superman from that point of view. Your thoughts?
Well, the first thing I want to address is it is a complete coincidence that I'm wearing a Man of Steel shirt tonight.
Sure.
This is more to do. Mind the Gap in the comments was commenting on it. Reason why I'm wearing this, guys, is I actually can wear it now. This is one of those shirts. I mean, it's still a little tight around the belly, but I put it on tonight. I'm like, oh my god, this thing was unwearable like a year ago. So I was just like all like stupid proud of myself for a second.
Good on you. Well done.
The second thing is I love the fact that he doesn't so much sidestep the Snyder Cut thing as he's in a unique position because of all the characters in that film, I think his role was changed the most in terms of what he was supposed to be in Justice League. I think he was still supposed to be kind of very heroic at the end, but again, the whole direction supposedly was that he was going to eventually turn on the Justice League anyways. So and then at the end of this, it's just like, nope, he's happy-go-lucky Superman. He's gonna embrace being more of the positive aspects of the character instead of focusing on the loneliness and the alienation and stuff like that. I also like the fact that he says, "I don't even know if it's out there." I think it's one of the most honest reactions we've gotten from anybody directly involved with the film. But him saying, "I want to go and it's almost like he's saying, let's forget BVS and Justice League ever happened, and we're just going to start again from the end of that movie, which is what they were supposed to do in the first place." And another commenter, John Early, I believe, was asking that question. What do we think of that? And I think that's a great idea. If they were going to, don't discount it. Don't forget about it. Don't completely sweep it under the rug. Don't pretend it didn't happen. But kind of use that as a jumping off point to do something in a different direction.
Yeah, look, I love the Henry's comment there. As far as the Snyder Cut is concerned, I agree with you. I think his character, Superman, probably came out the way Henry wanted it to with Joss Whedon's, is that his name? Yes.
Yes.
Involvement, where Snyder was going a more darker path. So it probably aligned better with where Henry sees Superman than the Snyder Cut probably did. So Henry's probably, look, I'm not really worried about seeing a darker version come out because, I'm happy with where this Superman version came, finally got to. But yeah, I mean, and this is the thing. A new Superman film starring Henry Cavill doesn't even have to be a direct sequel. It can just be a standalone movie that, yeah, sure, it touches on the same cast and and universe, but it can just be a standalone story that doesn't really have to draw any kind of threads from Batman v Superman or Justice League. It's just Superman's back. This is him. This is what he's going to do. To a Brainiac, Bizarro, whoever you want to do it with, just bring it out with a story that is bright, upbeat, with a Superman who smiles and is happy to be Superman and is accepted and loved and whatever the case may be. Just make it with Henry Cavill. I mean, it's not that hard.
Yeah, it's like all of that was a momentary distraction and now we can get back to the business of actually doing a Superman film.
And I wanted to touch on this Forbes article that people are talking about at the moment. Everyone seems to be piping in on the relevancy of Superman. Warner Brothers doesn't know what to do with Superman at the moment because they don't think he's relevant. So goes the quote unquote. I think Neil Gaiman, said it best, and I've been saying this for years. We don't need to have Superman be relevant. We need to be inspiring. We need to be inspired by Superman. I don't look towards Superman to relate to him. I look to him to be inspired by him, and that's why he's been portrayed so many times over the years as a Christ-like figure. Isn't that it's something to a standard to attain. It's something to reach for rather than go, oh, he's just as flawed as we are. We want something. We want a character who can be inspirational.
Yeah, my reaction to that it's my reaction whenever I hear that. It's, look, if you can't wrap your head around the concept of a man who has great power, that uses that power to help people selflessly, he's not expecting anything in return. It's just how he was raised. He does the right thing because it's the right thing to do. If you can't wrap your head around that, then the problem isn't Superman. The problem is you.
Yes. Well
I mean,
said.
and that sounds really harsh, but I've gotten really militant about that. It's just it's almost like, when you think about Hollywood executives, there is a certain stereotype that they're just not really in touch. They're kind of in their own world. And I was thinking about that today, and it's just like it's got to be miserable being one of those executives, because you're constantly having to justify your own existence. And you use it's almost like being a politician. You use any bit of like data that you have to kind of prove your point. And I think you also have to be a little narcissistic and a little sociopathic to be able to like step on other people to attain a certain role. So yeah, those people aren't going to relate to Superman in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Some of them may have liked him as a kid, but they're so broken as human beings now that that's just not where they are. But, you know, I love that Neil came out so strong, because Neil coming out strong about it really, I mean, it kind of blew everything up. I've been watching this thing kind of, it's interesting. Usually this thing happens, there's like a day of kerfuffle, and then it goes away. But more and more and more people, it seems, people that are on my social media circles that don't even normally talk about Superman are talking about Superman because of this article and because of Neil's quote. So maybe that will convince them to go in that direction.
We can only hope. So here's another interview with Henry in which I won't play the whole thing because copyright. But I will play a bit of what he had to say in regards to where things are at with him as far as Superman is concerned.
Beautiful. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you
so
too.
I would imagine taking on a film role.
And I look forward to doing more of it.
If you had multiple seasons, or shall we say multiple movies of Superman, what is an aspect of him that you'd like to dive into that you haven't had the chance to yet?
Where we left off with Man of Steel, in particular, which was a guy who had found his place, or tried to find his place, but had sort of found it by the end, had committed something which he would consider a most horrific sin by killing the last member of his species. That is a place where I'd like to travel from with the character. Him exploring the positivity of who he is. Not necessarily the chocolate box version, but that leaning into that character who actually becomes an icon of hope and enjoying that experience rather than necessarily being made uncomfortable by it.
You screaming no.
So that's just a little part of what Henry had to say about where he thinks he wants to go with Superman. God willing, he gets to take on some of those aspects, and that Warner Brothers is still keeping him in mind for future projects because he's being very vocal at the moment about wanting to still, wear the cape and still that it's still in his closet.
Yeah, and there's really no reason not to. I mean, it's not like he looks older than he did in Man of Steel, but he doesn't look appreciably older. And come on, George Reeves was like in his 40s when he started playing the character. So, and that was like Superman for an entire generation of kids. Now, could you do that same thing today? Absolutely not. It was like Mark Miller said years ago when they were talking about the secret pitch he had with the director. If Richard Donner stepped up and said, "I'm just going to remake the Adventure Superman television show on the big screen," it would have flopped because they needed a Superman for that generation. So I don't think he's aged out of the role by any means. I mean, look at how good Ralph looks as an older Superman. Indeed,
and they had to grey his hair to make him look even older.
Yeah. So I don't think there is any reason not to go forward and try at least one more time and see if you do it in a slightly different direction, give it a different director, a different writer. If that person is what's his name, J.J. Abrams, I'm still not entirely sold on it because I've seen how he takes other properties and doesn't understand certain things about them. But why not?
Indeed, and look, Chris Reeve got to do 4 movies. Why not Henry Cavill?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, let's turn our attention towards the television side of things, and with a new Superman and Lois TV series in the works, the open casting call that we talked about last week is still open. We have you have until Wednesday, December the 11th by 9 a.m. Pacific time to upload your video submission to castittalent.com/Superman_lowest_open_call. And so the full details are there up on your screen right now. We only had the details on the two characters, the two teenage male characters. We did not have the previous information about where you can upload your video submissions if you are indeed an actor of 13 to 16 years of age. So there are the details. Get your submissions in. Not that I think we have too many teenagers watching our show.
Well, you never know. We could be really a big hit with the tweens and just not know it because we don't know what social media they're talking on.
Yeah, actually, I should. I'm remiss to mention that my nephew Christian tells me he watches the show or listens to it because he puts it on in the background while he's doing work every week. So it's nice to know that we do have. He's 15, so we do have teenagers involved in our show, even if they are relatives.
Oh, it counts.
It counts
to me.
All right. Well, hey, if you are a teenager and you do listen to our show or watch our show regularly, post your comments below. Let us know that you are definitely part of the audience for this program. All right. Now we shift our attention to Supergirl. And Patrick Van Pelt has already mentioned in the comments that there was no review this week yet for the latest episode of Supergirl. Michael has had his other life get in the way and has his review ready to go after this show is done. The review will go up not too far long after that. So the episode was called The Wrath of Ramakan. It is technically the mid-season finale of Season 5 of Supergirl, the 8th episode of the season. Without spoiling your review, which people will read in depth once it has been posted on the website, what did you think of this episode?
I was really mixed on it. It's why I'm ultimately giving it a 3, because it wasn't as bad as some of the other ones, but the whole thing with Lena, it took till this week to me really to put my finger on what my problem is with it. And it was actually the conversation that Kara and Alex had, where Kara's like, well, she did this, and she did this, and she did this awful thing, and she kept this secret. And I was just like, yeah, she did do all that. and it really occurred to me that the writers of Supergirl have fallen into the same trap. It's a trap! I just have to say it. That I think Jeff Johns did with Lex Luthor and Superman, where Johns was really good at giving Lex's side of things, but there was never enough of a comeback from Superman to make me go, well, do you even like Superman over Lex Luthor? I mean, he is the bad guy. And I think they're kind of falling into that trap here where she is so wrapped up in her own narcissism. It's all about Lena to Lena. She's not helping people out of some benevolence. She is helping people or wanting to control them out of a narcissistic need to prove that she is the good guy. And only Alex is calling her on it. And it isn't even really calling her directly. But Kara is just like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And it's just like, Kara, you had reasons for keeping your secret identity secret. You had reasons up until 4 years ago that you weren't even in the superhero game. You were just kind of living as an assistant to Cat Grant until your sister was in trouble and you felt like you had to jump into action. And over the years, you've developed yourself and proven yourself to be the hero you are. Lena is wanting to control people's minds to basically lobotomize them into being nice to each other, completely removing free will from the equation, and that's terrible. And instead of going, what you're doing is wrong and here's why, it's, oh, I'm going to try to reach her. And it's just, I love the fact that the creators, that the writers of the show throughout the 5 seasons now have really had her want to talk first and punch later. I like that. But I really think that this particular storyline is starting to poke holes in that. I discovered another thing, and this has nothing to do with Lena. It has something to do with Miss Tessmacher. All throughout this season, I've been like, is that actress pregnant?
I was thinking the same thing.
Pregnant? Yeah, she just had a kid.
Okay, of course, yeah, she was looking puffy in the face.
Yeah, and it's nothing again. I mean, like, I'm really happy with her, but apparently the guy playing the monitor, LaMonica Garrett, also had his wife had a child over like the weekend, and John Cryer was just like, "Is this Crisis of Infinite Babies?" And I was just like, "Wait a second!" And I looked at my wife. I go, "Does she look pregnant?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I've been thinking that for weeks." I'm just like, "Okay, I'm not the only one." So. Yes. Congratulations, Andrea Brooks, on the birth of your child. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Please do not think that we're trying to say you looked bad. You looked great. It's just, I was just like, you don't look like you do in the Christmas movies that I've seen you in the past couple of days, and you don't look like you did last season.
Yes, no, exactly. This episode was mixed for me too. No one's body shaming Tina. When it's not body shaming at all. We just said her look. She looked different. There was something about her that just had changed from last season to this season. There's no shame in being pregnant or gaining a few kilos or anything like that, whatever the case may be. This episode for me was a mixed bag. Actually, for the first time in a long time, like you, was aligned with Alex. It's like, that's not usually... she's not usually my favourite character, but it was like, she's the only one who's making sense in this. It's like, yes, friendship is important, but we're talking about the world, saving the world. Like, come on. Like, there's got to be a priority here, and this show seems to put personal relationship priorities above the greater good. Alex has done it with her and her relationships, and Brainy has done it with him and his relationships, and Kara's done it with hers as well, and was doing it here with Lena. It's just like, come on, for crying out loud. This is a woman who is seconds away from bending the world to her will and making them, whatever the case may be, not themselves. And reaching for the good in the person is not the way to do it here and now. Sure, down the track maybe you can try to, but when it's it's imminent danger, you've got to go into action.
And the fact that she was able to just completely get out of it by Eve giving herself up at the end, I'm like, that is way too simple for everything that's been going on in this. And maybe it's because we're in the bubble, so we know what was going on. So publicly, Lena can present herself as being the aggrieved party here. Like, oh, I was being manipulated by my assistant and I didn't know anything about this. Meanwhile, a government agency is like, no, we're pretty sure that you were behind this, but whatevs, the FBI let you off. So I don't know if they just don't talk. The wrap-ups, the only storyline that I think wrapped up satisfactorily in this episode was the Malefic storyline. Because I absolutely loved watching Phil LaMarr and David Harewood be brothers. Like, I totally bought them, like him as his little, because he's so much shorter than him, I guess it helps. But I totally bought, because Phil LaMarr just has a natural exuberance anyways.
Yeah.
So to see him happy and not being serious, Malefic, I was just like, this is actually kind of sweet. I like this. And they name-checked McGann, so I'm like, oh, everybody remembers. There is a history to John on this show. So that is like the only one that kind of wrapped up to me going, yeah, I like that. Everything else is like, God, I hope this gets better on the back end. I really do.
Agreed. All right, so we look forward to your full review going up on the website tonight. Make sure you head to the website to check that out. when it is posted. Alright, we're going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back and talk about the finale of that episode and the teasers that have been posted for Crisis on Infinite Earths, which will start next Sunday. We'll be back right after these messages. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Gosh, Clark, we've got to get back to the office and call London before the meeting's over. Taxi!
With the AT&T card, your people have the power to handle business better.
Taxi! Taxi!
From anywhere to anywhere.
Come on, Clark.
It's okay, Lo. Everything's taken care of.
You always disappear in an emergency.
Order the AT&T card. It gives your people enormous abilities.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
I mean, it's not like I asked to be famous.
Yeah, well, it's the price you pay.
You sign a lot of autographs?
Oh, yeah, you?
They asked me to bend stuff a lot.
I could see that. What?
It's Lois. She's in trouble.
Did you look through that building?
Well, kind of. It's glass.
Watch it.
Whoa.
Idiot.
Lois!
Superman, I've forgotten my wallet.
I can't carry money in this. I'm powerless.
I'm not.
What's with the spinning? He idolizes me. It's embarrassing.
My hero.
What's that? It's a huge comet hurtling perilously towards Earth. We're doomed! I think you better get this one. You can do more with the American Express card. Wait, could you? It's for my kid.
And we're back on WGBS TV Live, bringing back some memories with some old TV commercials.
I remember when those Seinfeld commercials were like a huge deal. There was several of them, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, there was. You saw Jack Larson there just in front of the Daily Planet, and the other one had Noel Neal with the old Oklahoma thing going on in the background with Superman and Seinfeld on a road trip together. That's a lot longer. That one, it's about 5 minutes, but they had a whole website and everything for these commercials back in the day, and it was a big deal at the time.
And Patrick Warburton, who was on Seinfeld, and played the Tick, and he's on Family Guy, so surround sound.
Yes, so of course, Brad's saying that he does sound familiar, so that's who it was. Alright, as I mentioned at the end of the Supergirl episode and end of the Batwoman episode, and also the Flash, you'll see these little bit of a teaser leading into the Crisis on Infinite Earths episode crossover. Here is one of them, which I will play if I can find it. It seems to have disappeared off my list. I will grab it for you right now. It involves Lex Luthor and the Monitor, and that was seen at the end of the latest episode of Supergirl. And here we go.
Well done, John Jones. You passed the test.
Test? You released my brother from the Phantom Zone. You brought my brother here.
When I saw you fighting Elseworlds, I could see that you were a great warrior, but one plagued by his past, and that made you vulnerable. You believed it was because you had left Mars, but it was something far, far greater, John. Your brother. But now that you have faced those demons, you have come to learn your vulnerabilities are your strengths. And now you are ready.
Ready for what?
A crisis.
Checkmate. Again. Finally, you've returned. I don't know if anybody's told you this, but the feng shui of this place is a bit stale.
I brought you back because the universe will need a mind like yours.
Someone who can checkmate anyone?
Time has come for you to fulfill your destiny, Lex Luthor. You could now become the hero that you have longed to be.
I've always been the hero. Happy to help. But first we have to discuss my sister.
For so many years, I've traveled across worlds, across the multiverse to do one thing, to kill you. And now here, you saved my life.
Submit and begin your life anew.
Show me.
The knowledge is within you.
So there you have it. That was the, well, a fair bit of video there of the end scene with J'onn J'onzz, with the Monitor coming to talk to him. We had the Monitor approaching Lex Luthor, with Lex playing, looks like solitaire chess. And then we had Nash Wells opening that vault or whatever it is, with the 7 symbols to, we guess, become Pariah. So Michael reaches behind himself for something on the shelf.
That's what I was talking. We were having an entire conversation while you were watching that, guys, and we were talking about the symbols on the door, and I was kind of looking at them last night, but I didn't pause them, which I could probably do that. But that last one looks like this Lex Luthor symbol.
Okay, let me get back, freeze frame that trailer. I'll just mute us. Okay, let's have a look. Let's go quickly to the symbols. Whoop, where is it? There it is there, right on the right hand side. The one on the end?
Yep.
So we're guessing that's the Lex Luthor symbol.
Yeah, because he said in the trailer that dropped today, I need 7 warriors to save the multiverse. There's 7 symbols on the door. God, sounds like I should have like a cork board behind me with a bunch of strings attached to pictures and stuff. and I'm just sitting here shaking talking about this conspiracy theory. So, bet you anything one of those is the Atom, the one that looks like Iron Man. Who else could those be?
Very
One's
interesting.
probably Batwoman. Huh.
Trying to get back to where they were before he touches it. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll have to decipher those. I'm sure somebody will. But they are interesting symbols, interesting teasers leading into Crisis on Infinite Earths. And we have a full trailer also, which has some extra footage, including Tom Welling. Let's check that out right now. I seem to be losing. Here we go.
The multiverse. Every existence multiplied by possibility and spread out in infinite measure. Now there is a malevolent force at work, one driven by a singular goal, the destruction of all there is.
There's a wave of antimatter sweeping across this universe, destroying everything in its path. I brought you all to Earth 38 because this is where the Monitor wants you to make your stand.
Right, so we are going to need a bigger team.
You want some help?
The entire universe needs you.
Across space and time exist 7 heroes who can save the multiverse.
I'll find them. You are Clark Kent, right?
Bruce? Kate.
We need your help to stop this antimatter wave.
All right, then Flash.
Oliver! It is time! Has the planet been evacuated yet? Not entirely. Then it's not time!
One thing is certain. Everything we know, everything there is, and everything there ever was, is doomed.
So there you have it, the trailer, the final trailer for Crisis on Infinite Earths, and we saw Tom Welling there. No, he still doesn't speak. We got Flash 90, we got Batman from Kingdom Come, we've got multiple Superman. It's Lois. It's looking pretty impressive.
Yeah, when this dropped today, I had literally just gotten to work, so I had to kind of duck into the back real quick because I really wanted to watch it. And I watched it like 2 or 3 times because I wasn't trying to do like a trailer breakdown because that's just not my bag. But I was just watching it and I was just like, this is really interesting. The fact that you see Argo die and Supergirl's reaction to that. There's the cracked glasses at the end that Kara looks at. It is so big. And it's so funny that the trailer kind of ends on Arrow. And him going, is the Earth evacuated? Well, then we're not done yet. And I'm like, this is the show that started, it's all realistic. We're never calling him Green Arrow. We're not doing superhero stuff. No superpowers. And it's just like 8 years later, it's like, yo, we got the multiverse and it's dying. And we're gonna have 2 Flashes. We're going to have like 15 Supermen. I mean, it's almost like somebody got baked and started like coming up with the cool things they could do with this thing. But the biggest surprise, because, we've seen the pictures of Kevin Conroy, and I loved him going, are you Clark Kent? Like, the way Tyler Hoechlin asks the question is like, you look nothing like me. So are you Clark Kent? But just seeing Kevin Conroy coming down the steps in the body armor,
exoskeleton,
it was just like the exoskeleton, and him seeing Kate, I'm like, wow. Like, I thought I was excited for Avengers Endgame, and I was completely disappointed by it. I don't think I'm going to be disappointed by this. If I am, I give up.
Yeah, you're hard to please. It's looking pretty good. It starts Sunday 8 p.m. with the first episode being the Supergirl episode, and then straight after Batwoman, and then the next night Arrow. It's looking really impressive. Then we had a mid-season break, and then the final 2 episodes will air in early January with DC's Legends and the Arrow episode to finish it off. So looking forward to Crisis on Infinite Earths. And speaking about 15 Supermen, one of them was Brandon Routh, and in the Kingdom Come costume. And the TV Guide published an article in which fellow cast members reacted to Brandon in the costume, saying that, you know, they were just gasping. Everybody was just like, had their jaws wide open, you know, mouths agape, couldn't believe just what they saw. And one of the Arrow's David Ramsey told TV Guide, he said, as I bring up some pictures, he said, seeing him in the outfit was just, everybody just gasped. Brandon looked like a Greek god. He looked like 6'6" or 6'7", muscles everywhere, a little grey in his hair. It was just perfect, and he just had this thing about him. His hands were always on his hips. He was golden era Superman. You think about Superman, and if you say the words Superman, he looked like a Superman. Your eyes just couldn't get off Brandon.
Again, I remember when Superman Returns came out, that one picture of him choking Tyler, I joke today, is the representation of Superman fandom in one picture. But I remember when Superman Returns came out, I was at a convention, and one of the panelists that I was moderating basically said that, you know, Brandon Routh had all these special effects and he had all this and that, but all Christopher Reeve had to do was stand up straight, and you bought that he was Superman. And I thought that was really unfair. And hearing, or reading, I guess, because it was print, reading all of these people's reaction, it just seems like Routh was, we were talking about it earlier, he walked with purpose. And, you know, there's got to be something about one wearing that costume that if you have if you don't feel silly, then yeah, you are going to project a confidence that everyone's going to react to.
Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to seeing Brandon portray that, and I'm guessing that scene of him choking Tyler Hoechlin's Superman is probably when they first come together, and he's like, "Who are you? You know, where'd you come from? You're an imposter or whatever. Why are you wearing that suit? And what's with the belt buckles over your cape?"
Or as one of my friends said, did he say something about the trunks?
Yes. So
not underwear.
That's right. So looking forward to Crisis on Infinite Earths starting this Sunday, 8 p.m. All right, we're going to change tack now and look towards the comic book side of things. And Action Comics 1017 came out this past week, and we have a new reviewer, James Lance, taking over Action Comics reviews for us, and he has a whole different perspective than Mario Benisi did. James gave this issue a 5 out of 5, saying a lot happens all at once in this fast-paced issue. I'm guessing he's more impressed with Brian Michael Bendis' writing and this particular storyline. We're finally seeing Apex Lex and Legion of Doom, coming to attack Metropolis and defeating the Justice League and the Young Justice in the process.
Yeah, I'm glad. This is nothing against Mario, because I'm kind of in Mario's camp.
Yeah.
But if somebody was going to replace him, I'm glad it's somebody that is enjoying the book. I think that is really, that's kind of the position that you want to come from. You don't want to come back month after month and read a review from somebody that hates what they're doing. Because what I found when I was writing reviews, especially when I didn't like it, is this, I just felt like at what point does being negative stop being constructive? Right?
Yeah.
Like, you can have your say once or twice, but if you keep having your say like that, I think it comes down to you just, like, no one wants to read that. So having somebody with a different perspective that comes into this and is just like, wow, this was really cool, I liked it, and this is why, I think that kind of energizes the reviews.
I agree. It's no fun reviewing a book that you constantly feel let down by. It becomes a chore. So and we're not all about just giving glowing reviews. If a reviewer generally doesn't like something, he'll say so. It's that's the way we roll. But I totally understand Mario wanting to step down from reviewing a book that he just totally could not get into. It became, I don't think he's even reading it anymore. So it's pretty hard to stay on as a reviewer if you've decided to drop the book.
Yeah, I found that to be the case. Especially like those last couple of Superman Batman reviews were hard because I actually had to track down the issues through less than nefarious means.
Now
I have them now.
You have them now. At the
Put
time,
that out there.
Yes. Now it's another huge week for what's out this week. The list just I don't know if it's DC Comics going, hey, it's November, December, everyone's shopping, it's Christmas time. Yep. Let's just put out everything and see what sticks, because the last 3-4 weeks have just been the longest list of comic books and trade paperbacks and hardcovers that I've seen in forever. So let's check out what is coming out this week for Superman fans. We have Batwoman, Supergirl, World's Finest, #1. It's a giant, 100-page giant. I don't know what it involves or what the stories are, but it's a 100-page giant, and you got Batwoman and Supergirl involved there. You're about to show me something. I'm just going to take it back to you.
Is it this one?
It looks like that one.
It's
a different cover.
Because I found this at Walmart like 2 weeks ago.
Oh well, they must have. Let's have a look.
Huh?
It's a bit
interesting. Yeah, it's a different cover. It's got the same, like the Batman, the Superman, all of the the little faces are the same, but it's a different. I'll put it up again if you want to cut back to it. It's a different Batwoman Supergirl shot. Huh. So they released one to the comic shops and one to Walmart. That's kind of interesting.
So that's out this week, unless it's just a different cover of the same material. We'll have to wait and see. Also out this week is Justice League #37. And I have the feeling this might be Scott Snyder's final issue on the title before a new team takes over. And that is available in a variant cover right there. Also out this week is Lois Lane #6, halfway through this 12-issue maxi series, which is also available in a variant cover. Also out this week, kind of doing the Halloween and New Year's thing together, is New Year's Evil. And that is a one-shot which is out this week. I'm not sure what it contains, but I'm sure fans of the villains might be interested. We also have Superman Up in the Sky #6, talking about Walmart. This is the 6th and final issue of these reprints or direct-to-market versions of the Walmart story out this week. Young Justice #11 is also out this week, and that is available in a variant cover as well, featuring Bendis' character of Naomi. Final Crisis, the Omnibus New Edition hardcover, is out this week. Crisis on Infinite Earths #8 Facsimile Edition is out this week. Injustice Volume 1, Injustice Gods Among Us Omnibus Volume 1 hardcover is out this week as well. Speaking of Scott Snyder, Justice League by Scott Snyder, the Deluxe Edition Book 1 hardcover is out this week as well. Man and Superman, the Deluxe Edition hardcover, the one that you want to get if you haven't picked up this story. It collects all 4 issues with a mile of bonus material, which I'll get into in a second. That is out this week. Superman for Tomorrow, the 15th Anniversary Deluxe Edition hardcover. Yep. Jim Lee is getting his cut right there. Superman Secret Origin Deluxe Edition hardcover is out this week. And Batman Dark Knight 3 The Master Race hardcover, which involves Superman slightly is also out this week. A bumper week of comic books, especially hardcovers, out this week. I'll take a breath.
Yeah, my God in heaven, that's a lot of books. I mean, no one's shocked that they're reprinting For Tomorrow again. I am surprised that Secret Origins getting another printing, because they already released a deluxe hardcover of that like a couple years ago. So I don't know. That's a shed load of books, I guess, is the best way to say that.
Well put. Now, as I mentioned, Man and Superman, the deluxe edition, that's out this week. We were lucky enough to interview both the artist Claudio Castellini and writer Marv Wolfman. Michael and I collaborated on the interview questions for this. It's the Claudio Castellini interview is up on the website now. English is not his first language, so his answers are well thought out. And as I said, the bonus material showing his process of drawing, the pencils, the inking, the colouring, everything involved. It's so in-depth. The bonus material in this collection is impressive. And Claudio's interview is up on our website right now. And the interview with Marv Wolfman, the writer, who claims that this is the best, not just the best story he's ever written, or one of the best stories he's ever written, but possibly the best Superman story he's ever written, will be up on the website first thing tomorrow morning, so Wednesday, December the 4th. So the book is out now as of Wednesday for the direct market, and it'll be available in bookshops next Wednesday. I think it's December 10th anyway.
Yeah, I'm glad that got this kind of deluxe treatment, because not only is it a good story, it's actually one of those things where the supplemental features make perfect sense because of the odd rocky road. Originally it was going to be a 3 or 4 issue storyline in Superman Confidential, yeah. and now it's this 100-page thing. So it's just like either way, it's great.
Definitely get out and buy it. I've had a look at the bonus material that's involved there, and the pages are just glorious. Marv Wolfman's story is impressive alone, but the bonus material that's included in this is amazing to behold. And speaking of interviews, we also, our reporter Michael Marino caught up recently with artist Joe Staton and spoke to him about his career in comic books, working for DC Comics, and his involvement with Superman. He's done things like JSA. He's written a story about Superman fighting Nazis. He did the World's Finest. He also did the Superman and Bugs Bunny crossover. So he has been an artist that has been around for many years at DC Comics, and an in-depth interview with him is up on our website right now as well.
Awesome. He's currently, I think, doing Dick Tracy, but yeah, he drew that untold origin of JSA, and his Superman was just magnificent.
So that is pretty much it for this week's edition of WGBS TV Live. Don't forget to vote on our Shield Awards. The big banner is there at the top of the website. You can't miss it. And also get involved in this month's Super Trivia Quiz, which you'll find under the Favourites menu at the website. But that's it for this week's episode. I'd like to thank everyone for watching tonight's episode of WGBS TV Live. I'd like to thank everyone in the YouTube channel there for your participation and your comments. And once again, thank you to my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Thanks, Mike.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
And a huge thank you to our sponsor and patrons, Douglas Meacham and John Patrick Van Pelt. We appreciate your support. And if you want to sponsor the Superman homepage, you can do so for as little as $1. Just head to patreon.com/Superman homepage. Now, the complete 1-hour video of tonight's show will remain available on our website and our YouTube channel if you want to check that out. But we'll be back next week on Tuesday, December 10th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time for another edition of WGBS TV Live. We look forward to talking to you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. On behalf of myself and Michael Bailey, thanks for watching WGBS TV Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.